So as Simon indicated, I am Heather Merasty. I am from the Meadow Lake Tribal Council. I say I'm from there because I've spent most of my career at Meadow Lake, working within their 9 First Nations in a variety of positions. Today, we're really going to look at those partnerships to support a holistic education model. You'll get to know a little bit more about myself and MLTC. So the Meadow Lake Tribal Council is located on the Flying Dust First Nation, which is right beside Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. And we're on the Treaty 6 territory. There's a beautiful introduction by Simon regarding who I am. So it's up there for you to read, but I won't go into too much detail on that. In regards to the Meadow Lake Tribal Council, it began in 1981, and it was known as the Meadow Lake District Chiefs, and formerly known as the Meadow Lake Tribal Council come 1996. At the time of kind of inception, there was about $150,000 budget and 10 employees. And our services and departments have grown significantly since then. In 2017, we managed a $55 million budget. And by 2020, it's over 75 million, and we have over 300 employees. Now, the programs and services that we provide to our 9 Meadow Lake First Nations include executive management, child family services, economic development, education, elders, finance, corporate services, human resources, health, information technology, justice, and tech services. So it's a large tribal council that facilitates programming and services for our 9 Meadow Lake First Nations. So if you want to know whereabouts we are in relation to Canada, we're right there in that blue dot in the middle of Saskatchewan, about 300 kilometers north of Saskatoon, for those who are familiar with Saskatoon. And our territory is really the northwest part of the province. And within our 9 Meadow Lake First Nations, we cover 3 treaty territories, which is 6, 8, and 10. And we have 2 linguistic groups as well. Within our communities, we speak Cree. There's Cree First Nations as well as Dene First Nations. So we have a variety of unique First Nations coming together to create the Meadow Lake First Nations Meadow Lake Tribal Council. So when it comes to education specifically in our programming, it's good to understand what our demographics look like. And we have 9 schools, nursery to grade 12, with the exception of Kopinawakanam Flying Dust First Nations School, which is nursery to grade 8. They're right beside a city center of Meadow Lake, which means the grade 9 to 12 then get bused into town to receive their high school programming. And, one day we hope that they are able to have their own grade 9 to 12. When it comes to our governance, we do have a Board of Education, which each of our Meadow Lake First Nation bands, they appoint a board director, and we are a federally incorporated board, and we have representation from each of our nations. So it's important to know with the Meadow Lake Tribal Council, we are second level services. We're not a school division, and we are not an education authority at this time. We are working with Indigenous services towards they call it an REA, and we call it our collective agreement. So we are in negotiations with Indigenous Services Canada to become an incorporated authority under the umbrella still of the Meadow Lake Tribal Council. So with that said, for our second level services, we have a variety of support and people that really drive our education system. And our tier one is really those frontline workers, those teachers, the caregivers, the parents, the leadership in each of those communities. And we have approximately 170 teachers or teaching positions. Not all are filled, but we're doing quite well. And then, of course, tier two is positions that MLTC funds, and they're in each of the schools to help support at that tier two level. So that would include numeracy catalyst, literacy catalyst, early learning interventionist, and our land, language, relationship, and culture catalyst, which includes elders, Dene and Cree speaking teachers, community members that bring in their own learning and experience and skill set for our students. And then, of course, when it comes to tier three, so that's the Meadow Lake Tribal Council second level services. We provide a variety of supports that cover curriculum, instruction, assessment, performance management, language revitalization, counseling, occupational therapy, educational psychology, speech and language. So on top of that, we have quite a few contractors that help support in a variety of areas as well. And I will share a bit more about that during the partnership piece of the presentation. So getting into our partnerships, we really want to look within first, seeing what resources and supports we have already and tweak them, add to them, adjust them to meet the needs of our communities before we start looking outward. So I will present on internal partnerships within the Meadow Lake Tribal Council, as well as outside agency partnerships. So as I said, we like to look within. And we don't just at MLTC Education come up with ideas that we think the school should do. We have lots of community consultation with staff, community, and students, and they give us the feedback of what they would like their education programming to look like. Within that, we work as a team with our school-based administrators and teachers and our staff at MLTC Education, and we create the things to meet their needs. And some of those activities are a full circle conference. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we've had to cancel the last two, and this year's conference will be 100% virtual and open to our 9 Meadow Lake First Nations. And that full circle conference is really driven by the staff in regards to what kind of professional development they want. And so then we find the speakers and we put together a large conference, and it happens in March, and really it's a coming together and building relationships between teachers from other schools, staff. It includes EAs, our maintenance people, bus drivers. We open it up to all education staff because they all play an important role. So that is one of our big ticket items that we get excited for. It's a lot of work, but we bring in a lot of excellent speakers from across Canada and even internationally. We also are partnering with all of our school-based administrators and teachers. We have a committee developed because we want to develop a holistic report card. So in our previous presentations, we talked about developing and how we're moving forward to a holistic education model. And one of those is a holistic report card. So it's not just about academics and the percentage that students are receiving. It's also about a number of different things and different areas that we feel students need to develop to become positive community members that are enjoying that good life. Another project we are working on is developing a 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year high school route where students can customize what their high school journey looks like. And this is really important because a lot of our students have different things happening that prevents them from going to school and completing it over that 3-year mark. And so we're trying to develop different routes for them, both that include university aspirations, trade aspirations, and what have you. So it's really to help support those kids go beyond grade 12. We also are working with our student services teachers and classroom teachers and EAs in developing a holistic personal program plan, or PPP. And I know they're called different things in other organizations, individual education plans and things like that. And so we really want to provide an opportunity for students to have a well-rounded a personal program that's not just on academics or behavior, but it's all connected to those 4 areas: social, emotional, mental, and physical. And again, the community consultation, like I said, they give us what they need, and we help support that, facilitate that with them, and build it together. So we don't have a Ministry of Education where we get them to develop our curriculum. We're doing it grassroots and up. And so we help facilitate a lot of that. That's very community specific. When we started developing our holistic education, we went to our elders first, who gave us the Dene Cree values and laws, which is really the foundation to what we build everything on. So we frequently consult with them and get their knowledge and support and direction when we're developing anything, including PPPs, the holistic report card, all of what we do. We always draw back to those Dene and Cree values and laws. So again, Meadow Lake Tribal Council has 5 different departments, and we've partnered with a few of them to really help support our First Nations. And one of those is our Head Start nursery program, which is under health. We've partnered with them, and we provide training in ASL. We've also TPR, and we've also developed an LLRC curriculum for them. So we want to be able to work with the agencies from birth until when they get to school. So we have that transition piece, and we can keep track of the kids, put in interventions where they need, support the families, and get involved earlier, because if we have parent involvement early on, they're more likely to stay involved as the child moves on through their education journey. We have a backpack program, which is quite exciting. So we purchase backpacks, we fill them full of books and different activities and manipulatives that kids get to take home and work with their families on. And they get to keep them. They don't have to return them, they get to keep them. And we started this in kindergarten. And it was really to support the EYE results, or early years evaluation results. So giving every student opportunities to develop those areas further at home. And it was such a great hit. Now nursery would like them. Grade 1 parents, the kids moving from kindergarten to grade 1, they would like a grade 1 backpack with some of these activities. And so moving forward, we are going to expand that program as well. And we do training with Head Start and nursery teachers. We invite them to a lot of our professional development. So we have that cross training. We work with health and CFS prevention workers, and our counselors, our clinical team support workers in education. We found that some kids were seeing multiple counselors, and we don't really have those resources to duplicate supports. And so we've kind of created a hub where we know where everybody, their training levels are, what they're able to provide in counseling and supports and intervention. And we talk about the kids, not necessarily specifics, but what supports are they getting? What supports do they need? And so it's more of a holistic opportunity to talk about kids and making sure that they have those supports that they need. Another large event we put on at the beginning of the year, and we invite our neighboring school divisions, and in our case it's Northern Lights School Division and Northwest School Division, and we host a large career fair, and it takes place in an arena. It's so large. We invite Indigenous businesses, universities, trade schools, all kinds of organizations come, and we insist that they have some type of interactive table or presentation. So our kids aren't just walking around picking up pamphlets. They're engaging, they're talking, they're having these discussions about their futures. And this aligns with the programming that all of our schools have, which is called My Blueprint, which is really about career development. And then we partnered with our economic development department, and we host, in partnership with them, career fairs in each one of our communities in January, which is quite timely. So those kids get the reminder, you need to start applying to universities. Deadlines are coming up, as well as funding through your band and what have you. So we take that career fair to the communities, and it's open in the afternoon for students, and then to the communities in the evenings. And so that's been a really good partnership there. Another partnership we've worked on too is with SGI. And we have a position on staff in economic development that gives training on safety, and we're working on a full-time driver training program. And that's not just for students, but it's also for the community. And so with SGI, we have free helmets going out to students for skidoos and for their what are they called? Again, now it just slipped my mind. All their ATVs, if that's still the term we use for those. So we, as well as signage for the community. So that's been a really good safety partnership for our communities. And again, it's not just students, it's also for community members. So those were just a few of the things that we're working on at MLTC within our Meadow Lake Tribal Council. But we also have external partnerships, which we're quite excited about. Some are brand new, and some we have had for a couple of years. And one of our big partners is Think Indigenous. So Chris Scribe and his group of staff work with my staff, and we've developed something called Youth Red Talks. So you might know about TED Talks. Well, these are Youth Red Talks. And we work with a teacher in every community and students. It's all based on kind of a sign up. They're not forced to do it by any means. And these, we call them the teachers, they're really inspirational in keeping this going. And it's a full year development where we work with the students on developing their speaking skills, going through their truth bombs, as Chris Scribe would say. And we actually, at the end of the year, then usually pre-COVID would have a large assembly where the kids would have come from all the First Nations, and they would watch their peers up on stage dropping their truth bombs. And it's been absolutely excellent, and more teachers are wanting to sign up, more kids are trying to get on there too. So it's really blown up in a good way. So that's one large partnership there. And Think Indigenous has provided our staff, both at MLTC and our schools, our teaching staff, with Indigenous Trauma Liberation Certification, professional development, as well as decolonizing education. So in our transition and developing a holistic education model, we really needed to get that background information, the history, and be able to come at it with the same understanding of what has happened in the past, where we're at and where we want to go. And that has brought on wonderful transformations in our staff. and the building of allyship with our Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff. And that has really been the game changer. And this has been we've been taking this training for 3 years now. And that is going to really help us in developing our own curriculum. We also have a partnership with Skills Canada. We host the Northern Regional competitions every year, and we really worked hard on getting Indigenous categories. So some of the skills comp categories that are included now are paddle making, beading, things like that. And so that was a big win for us that we appreciated working with Skills Canada and them open to developing those categories for us. And again, that's a year-long process. We work with our PAA teachers and the students, so they are prepared for those regional skills competition. And we've even had ones go to nationals, so that's a great opportunity. We also work with a company it's called LifeSpark, and Kevin Waddell runs that, and he's developed 9 language apps with us and with each of our communities. So we don't just have a Cree app and a Dene app. Each of our communities has their own language app, and they can add to it, change it. And our next step with Kevin that we're working on right now is developing games and additional supports for those language apps. So that's quite exciting. We have all 9 apps ready to go, and you can get those at the iTunes store, I believe, at this point. And it's free and it's open. We also work with Medicine Rope, which is a company in Saskatchewan, and they are developing a Wind of 4 directions for us, which is a grade 6 interactive web page. So we know we are losing our elders at a devastating pace, and with them, an entire library of knowledge goes. And so we've been working with our Dene and Cree elders from our 9 nations to develop a web page where teachers, students can go to it, and they can see stories, videos from and teachings from our elders, and the teachers get to work on it together to develop lesson plans, year plans, things like that. And so it's really a place where anybody can go and find out who are our knowledge keepers in our communities. And they have a variety of activities to go through to build those different competencies in a variety of areas. So that's quite exciting and should be launched by the end of this year. We also work with other organizations like Tiny Eye for our SLP, speech language pathology, and occupational therapists, as well as mental health services. So many of us struggle hiring speech language pathologists, ed psychs, OTs, all those specialized areas. And so we've accessed a variety of companies to help provide us with that, those supports. And long term, we don't just want a contractor to come in and leave. We also want assessments, resources, supports, and ongoing support for both our students and our teachers. Like I said, we do work with our Northern Light School Division, Northwest School Division. They have a variety of professional development that they offer, as do we, and we open it up to each other. And Northern Light School Division, Northwest School Division and Meadow Lake Tribal Council Education Department, we're starting on developing a partnership that is reciprocal, and we're looking at possibly some student exchanges and different things like that, so we can utilize each other as resources. And so that's in the works. And Roots of Hope and working with the Mental Health Commission of Canada. We are currently, they're in a meeting right now, my superintendents, and they'll give me an update, but we really want to look at the resources that are available. So Roots of Hope is an organization that would know all of our mental health supports in the Meadow Lake area that our communities could access. And so it's really a hub of resources and supports. And we're excited to partner with them, so we're able to offer additional resources to our communities. So really, that's just a quick overview of our current projects. We're always working with internal and external agencies to help support the vast needs of our communities. And we really want to get to living that good life and living it to the fullest. And that's our intention. And hopefully I was able to speak in a good way and with my heart and mind to share the wonderful things that our Meadow Lake Tribal Council Department of Education is working on with our 9 Meadow Lake First Nations.